This video is the second part of the book review of the book entitled Torah, Yesurul Ikta. In this book review, I am going to introduce the contents of 4th chapter to 6th chapter, summarizing its argument and meanings with my own expression. If we want to do definition of art, it would be combined work for defining art world. The art world is the place where artists' life make art. The artist life makes art interfacing art world as they see, which is their experiences. The artist's experience let out viewers' experiences, critics' experiences, as such. The peculiarity in their artworks is that art is expressed in what is interfaced with art world as artist has seen about, which is when analyzed further, resulted that it is the aspectual cut end from the world around us. Not only the artist's life, but also the everyday endeavor humankind does is happen within the scope of their world around their life. To be specific to academic world, the endeavor done by philosophers and artists are same nature. The world is metaphysically complicated object, it is intuitively certain that everything is in the art is also within world. But, how? The author of 4th chapter constrained it to the genre of art about paintings. The paintings are representative of all art genres in this topic. The painting is result of artist's vision how he looks about the world. Their vision interface the world around them to people in the art world. Artists interface their own world and interface it to audiences. In turn, the artworks interface audiences what is interfaced by artists. The art world is appeared in someone's consciousness, not necessarily artist's art world, it would be physicist's world, sportsman's world, and economist's world and more. The same thing is that their worldview we interface is real world. The real world is phenomenally appeared as world in general. The concrete side of the world, it is appeared on the visual perception because it is painting. The visual experience is restricted in body of human species, for example, movie films 24 frames, we cannot perceive its discontinuity of each frame, we should perceive it continuity of one unified movement. One more restriction is by the nature of languages. There are many kind of low and high, but we use only two terms, nupta, natta, as unified term into it. In this condition, we need to pay more attention to perceive the different rate of diverse high and low by phenomena. The visual perception is restricted as restriction in languages and body, so we need to interface the world as others experience in visual ways. In accumulative of these experiences, we need to refer to other people's opinions from the works when we need to extend other cut end of the world around them. The art world is perceived by the works of art. The paintings are easy example when we think about the perceptual constraint beyond this nature. There would be the world in general everyone can perceive by visual perception, and there are art world many kind of these visionary considerations appeared by their abstract intellects, which are presented within the scope of the free flow of imagination. The many kind of visions can make to see many abstract aspects of the world around us. It is the world that artists view, it is the world interfaced by audiences, and the world interfaced by critic, their evaluations about them. It is likely appearance of perception, it is also what is expressed in various colors and shapes. Not likely human species, insects cannot imagine when they perceive artworks. Only human species can. When we cannot understand what is expressed in the artwork, we can understand the cubist's works of art, for example, their expression in their paintings are indivisible to certain conception to it, more distant in exact depiction of real-world shape and colors. The artist's interface to cut end of the world they see is, very often mysterious homework we should have been taking, so there is extension of the world they are expressing in their artworks. The free flow of imagination is important element of the artworks. What is expressed in the painting is no more accurate mimesis of real appearances, rather it is expression of artist's inner consciousness. It is more on the move towards the shifting from ontology to generation. The generation is always presupposition with how the expression is established by artists, the interface to the cut end of the aspect of the world they have seen about it. The world has many artists and diversity in their artworks. This means that there are many aspects of the world expressed by their subjectivity, which is beyond the dichotomy of the subject or an object's delineation. It is sometimes traversal from one aspect to one another, having perceptual restrictions still they have. However, this limited nature of artworks, and the limited body, we can have extension to the knowledge about the world we have never seen before. Humankind can go beyond their two limits of this sort. The free flow of imagination makes it possible. From the discussion thus far, it is certain that we can't know everything in the world before we actually experience it. However, when we experience many artworks with many artists' perspective, we can extend our perspectives too, with free flow of imagination expressed in the artist's artworks. This can formulate the art world. It would be totality as art world, it would have us to have definition of art world. The art world is interface of artists' perspectives participatory among audiences, critics and more. This is 4th chapter of the book. Until now, we have explored the definition of arts as we viewed in first part of the book reviews. In fourth chapter in the second part of book review, we have explored the definition of art world. The next chapter is what is the definition of artists. In this fifth chapter, the author discusses about what is artists inwards and outwards defines their nature as artists, with historical context of how it evolved around. The following is the summaries with my expression. The importance of knowing about art history is that we can find out the perspective how to understand the attribution of related things, how and what artists express their human nature as manifested onto their artworks. There are many answers to this question. The author of this chapter says artists' artwork evolved around social advancement, evolved around specific detail of their activities in history. The history and social mood influenced their works, it represented drama of life they lived by. The history of past, present, and future continue to manifest their human kindness. This means if we see it by art history, it would help us to define what is artist. The chapter goes into main argument from the attribution from Stone Age, Middle Age, Renaissance era began to. The Stone Age, primitive people expressed their superficial understanding of nature and God into their artworks. The artworks were crude because underdeveloped media, and it continues in Middle Age too. However, when sciences advanced and departure from religion, people try to seek for freedom in their artworks gradually after Renaissance era. The new styles of attempts are gained by popularity, ideas and thoughts would be evaluated more significant features of artworks. There are still religious influences in this era too. Renaissance artists were finding their ways into express more free flow of imagination, from supernatural, sacred and secular, or exposing real world, and expressed sky and ground in one artwork. As time goes, when science is advanced more and more, the era's industrial advancement of society, information is distributed more than before, government sovereignty and individual dignity were considered deeply. The dignity is warranted by advancement of social recognition, people could live more comfortable life, romanticism appeared, the humankind is expressed as protagonist standing on the place where human drama was depicted, central hero having flesh and bone, perceptually vivid and lively figures. The realism paintings are not only expressed in human life, it would express more than romanticism, the report of some events, real-world farmers' ordinary workplace, or report of special events human dignity was harmed, so is what we can call manifest of human nature. The Impressionists, the peculiarity of Go, would be more intuition is expressed in their artworks. The poor conditions of peasants' life, other than other Impressionists' art depicting bourgeois, he manifested love and respect for people who had lived sturdy life into his canvas. This is another manifest of human nature. After industrial era there had been developed laborers' dignity is considered. This is also applicable to art world, Marxists' view also immersed into it. The two world wars too, had arisen the absurdity and desire of human nature were expressed in. The more rule-breaking artworks were crafted, breaking shapes and colors and collage, frottage, carving, or assemblages are used, the surrealism is paradigm example. The Cubists and the Expressionists were new styles of them. It is what artworks manifested human nature, the core of it is presented by artists. The artwork is likely the way of our life. There is life liver not life itself. The same is the relation between artists and artworks. The process of life of creating artworks is likely the process of one human life. It is art history, where human nature, it is implementation of human nature. It is representative that what is definition of artists. This is fifth chapter of the book. Until fifth chapter, we explored the definition of artworks, art world, and artists. The next chapter explores mass cultures and pop arts. These two cultures are peculiarity in postmodern era. If we look closer to it, it explains what popularity is in art world and what is postmodern art culture is. What is distinctive between classic arts and pop arts? Is the distinction valid or unjust? This is explored in sixth chapter. The question about what is superior classic arts and pop arts is pseudo-question, that is uneasy to provide right answers. The two categories are just within their attributory differences, each category has their own attribution we need to approve as unique expressive system in arts. People like Adorno studied that modern capitalist society audiences are corrupted when they are immersed into commodities of capitalist society, artworks are so too. However, if we have self-purity system as I have an opinion, would not be problematic in each genre because they have their own uniqueness we can respect from. The Adorno's view is starting from corruption in capitalist society. The artists should be complying the trendy in sales of their arts, and audiences also have to pay much money to have it as assets. The popularity gained by artists is scarce opportunity, and popular artists can get luxurious car, but obscure artists are starved. So, classic artists who audiences ignored, and snobism in pop arts could be both corruptive in their endeavor. The complexity in crafting each of them would strengthen the determined bias that pop music is simpler than classic music, or from the aesthetic point of view, pop music would be viewed as inferior in productive process too. The author denies this view and tries to find out the meaning of pop arts in postmodern era. It is ongoing to the criteria of pop arts, and its functions by exploring many existing scholarly works' attempts to look it out. The distinction between classic arts and pop arts are associative with the bias about social class differences. The pop arts were viewed as entertainment purpose that is seemingly snobbiest culture. The exclusive nature of this tendency would be manifest of social trend. Bourdieu has classified the distinction held by one social class would have criteria from the attribution of social assets would be significant. The distinction between classic arts and the pop arts would be consequence of distinguish their social class to lower social classes. Once we delineate this way, higher social classes' entertainment cultures should have difference from other lower classes. However, postmodern era, the author stated that pop cultures or pop arts are completely different from this traditional bias, rather it is social dominant phenomena. Pop arts are entertained by people. The digital images shared from SNS, or YouTube videos for example, arts is not exclusive to some social class only, which is domination in our era. If Adorno's study would be meaningful in this context, it made clearly that industrial nature of pop cultures would make reproduction of audiences too. The art should conduct extension of human aesthetics and lead out the right way into it, capitalist culture it divert from it. According to Kant, when we contemplate artworks, we need to operate free flow of imagination. The two mode of it would be recognition of existing ideas in it, or it would be creative endeavor to identify ideas expressed in it. The social critics like Adorno would point out that capitalist pop arts cannot lead us into the creativity in this sense, so is problematic. The author denies this partially. There would be corruption in capitalist society. Pop cultures can present more chance of new experiments, birth of more creative artworks, and unique styles could be evolved around more refreshing ways. The classic artworks are also under capitalist society is that it is sold as luxurious assets by rich people. We do not think this is serious problem if it is just process. This is similarly in understanding pop arts. We also can entertain with our own picture images generated by camera. The entertainment strengthen our human network, makes our life more prosperous. This denies the superiority of classic arts. The more experiment of postmodern music such as no any sound during exhibition or use of siren continued during exhibition or mixing of many kind of noises are making extension of new styles in music composition. This is what is so-called extended aesthetics, or extended aesthetic conceptions, which extends our aesthetic experiences. It offers new experiences that are refreshing, cooperation with generation and new contact with perceptual satisfaction. Ihimun is famous is this way too. We say it is invaluable piece of art which is synthesis of classic and pop musics. The core of 6th chapter is that pop arts also have their unique beauty expressed in it and it can extend our ways of entertaining artworks with experimental, refreshing ways of it. It can be with our enunciated ordinary life and it extends our aesthetic experiences. So, the author concluded that the distinction between classic arts and pop arts are ideology which provides foundations to understand pop arts. These are discussed from 4th chapter to 6th chapter, helping us to define the concepts of art world, artists, and postmodern pop arts. These essays are very clever and exposition of complicated topics to more easier to understand. The third part of the book reviews, I will write about 2 more essays in the book. The first part of the book ends with the 2 more essays. This is dealt with third part of this book review.